Hey everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm just doing a quick video. I've been kind of stuck in the quarantine and unfortunately on a temporary layoff. So I've had kind of a lot of time to do work on my RCs. That's a 5th scale gas. It's a Red Cat Rampage. And the first one you saw was a Baja. They look kind of dusty and dirty because they're kind of turned more into shelf queens after they got beaten and used and played, and then I would just do a complete tear down, rebuild, and fix them up. So this is just kind of some of what I got going on here. And then here are some of the things that I've 3D printed. Still working on building a shelf for them. That's a Red Cat Gen8. It's currently still being totally customized for full scale. That's an SCX one. This here is just a slash 4x4 converted to a buggy. This is just a Triax 2-wheel drive that I kind of bash around in the sand. This is a Helion 4-wheel drive monster truck that is being converted for sand bashing because I live close to the beach, and with the quarantine it was kind of really the only places we can go where there's a lot of people. This here is a axial Wraith, just keeps getting changed over to different things. But so now let's get into the 3D printing. So now this is an Ender 3, which was my first printer, and I bought this April of 2019. This is your basic food dehydrator converted because a lot of plastics are what they call hydroscopic, which means they'll suck moisture out of the air and get into the plastic. So a lot of times plastic that's been sitting around for a while, I'll run it through there to dry it out. This here is an Ender 5. It's bigger brother of the Ender 3. This is considered, I believe, Cartesian style. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And then this is your XY core. But according to most people on YouTube, this is kind of a generic or hybrid of one. But this is the one I do my high temp plastics with. And this is my, like a cover for it to help hold the heat in. Because when you print nylons in your higher temperature stuff, it tends to want to curl and lift if you don't contain the heat around, the outside of it. So let's get into what I've been doing with 3D printing since I've been stuck at home because of the virus. Currently right now I'm on a temporary layoff, and that was effective as of April 22nd this year. So let's get over to what I've been working on. This is a this is the Triax Sport, totally modified from ground up pretty much. It is basically running stock running gears and diffs and things like that. The front axle was overdriven. So basically I got like these bottles, like fuel, water, things of that nature. So all the plastic you see back here has been 3D printed. This is basically like a snap-on toolbox, a welder, sand ladders, high lift jack, battery, jack stands, propane bottles, fire extinguisher. Let's see, 2 milk crates. I guess that's if you want to call them that. The bed of it, like all of this part, was originally Proline's back half cage. And as you can see, I cut off the top parts of it and opened it up. And also, if you can see the walls there, they're 3D printed. This back gate, or whatever it is you want to call it, that's my own design and printed. And then basically we have the same thing going on over here. And then if you come down underneath, it's basically, for the most part, all the stock parts, painted to diff covers. And if you look back here, you can see that there is no rear body post, but actually the cage is going to hinge right off of this here. And it's, so here, let me open this up. And this just comes up, tilts back. And yes, it's obvious, everything is glued on there. Sorry that it got kind of dark, but my camera said that, or my phone said the light was overheating the phone. So you can see how I got that one body mount bracket set up. This battery tray, and inside of here is all of your the speed controller, which has one of those Hobby Wing 1080s. And as you can see right here with the 3D printing, you could basically kind of do what you want with it. So I printed out that lid, painted the top of these. Just has a Rockstar 35 turns motor in there. Savox, I think they call it a Black Monster or a Monster Black servo in there, aluminum serving horn. Stock bumper that came on the car, and then got some aftermarket, or some scale chains. I ended up buying that. As you can see, the shock towers, that's my own design, as well as I printed them. I did it because I wanted to lay the shocks back a little bit for a little better articulation, and also in the rear I've done the same. Let me grab a battery real quick. So this is basically like the battery sizes that I use. They're pretty small. And as you can see, that just fits right in there like that. And then you just kind of run your wires over to connect them. And it's not tightened down, but see, as you can see how it just fits in there. Let's see. It's got a little, I'm not sure what kind of car it was originally for, but it has a little interior. But the interior was kind of small for this truck body, because this is like an extended cab F-150 or 250, whatever it is. So this plate right here, I just kind of designed and printed that in there just to fill in the gap. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it in there. But you can see the interior in there. Sorry, it's the flash on my phone, or the light on my phone won't turn on. It says that my phone needs to cool down more. But anyway, and it's been dubbed the Off-Road Rescue. Let's see what else have we done there. And just some cheap aluminum aftermarket rims. I think I got the rims maybe $30 for all four, something to that nature. They are 1.9s. Those are actually the stock original tires that came with the truck when I first bought it. So those of you who have been thinking about getting into 3D printing, honestly, I think it's a great deal. A good thing to get into. Especially if you're into RCs a lot like me. I have probably like 27 cars, 8 drones, so they keep me busy in repairs. And by buying a 3D printer, I've been able to save a lot of money on accessories, replacement parts, things of that nature. Now, like this Ender 3 we were talking about a little earlier, you could buy these all day long now for like $200. And then even when I bought it, I actually was able to design and print this, a new spool holder. And that right now is actually a flexible filament in there. And as you can see, it's really flexy, and you know, I use it for actually a lot of the things I printed with that is I made some 1.5-inch balls for my cats to play with, because it's a soft plastic, so it doesn't hurt them when they bat it around. They can kind of get their nails into it and flip it around, things of that nature. This one, like I said, I used for high temp plastics, as well as infused, like some plastics that have carbon fiber or fiberglass. There's some that have metals in them. So that's what this printer was set up to do. But I, for the most part, use this one. I paid $225 for this printer shipped, but that also included some extras. You could probably buy this for like about $190, but I paid for the version it came with extra accessories, you know, like a glass bed, things of that nature. It came with a magnetic bed, but I took that off, peeled all the magnetic surface off the metal aluminum tray that it's down underneath here, you know. Sorry about this being dark, folks. And let's see what else. So one of my other projects I'm working on, it's called the drag axis. It's just a custom build. It originally basically started as a Triax Bandit 2-wheel drive car, and I just expanded it from there. This is my most recent design and print. Is I removed the whole front end. Here, let me grab the original one. So this is what originally was sitting up there up front when I first built the car. But now I wanted to try to bring the tires in closer to each other so it's not so wide and looking like a buggy, and kind of narrow it up so it got some more of that dragster look. So I designed this and I printed it out, and this is printed out of PETG, or commonly known as PETG. It's stronger than PLA plastic, and it's another one of those that could be hydroscopic, because you do have to print that plastic at a way much higher temperature than you do for PLA. But I mean, and even right here, this right here, this link, that's actually an arm off an old axial crawler or something. But that was just there temporary for mock-up. Eventually it's going to have, you know, just your standard ball ends with some all thread going across. And then I'm going to sleeve the all thread just for cosmetic reasons.